What's up, guys? So if you've been watching my videos for any amount of time, you can probably tell that your boy can be pretty indecisive at times. And so even though we fairly recently spent more on wheels and tires and the lowering kit than we did the actual truck, we're lifting this thing today. Now, we got two good reasons for doing so. The first of which, I absolutely love this thing. It's a super cool Regency Edition factory V8 manual truck, and it deserves an audience, which leads me to the fact that majority of y'all absolutely despise lowered trucks. And so most of y'all really just don't watch the videos on this thing. But majority of y'all also love Chomper, which this thing is very similar to, just lifted, leveled instead of lowered. And so it only makes sense. Now, number two is probably the biggest reason. I just got to accept the fact that I don't live in a lowered truck friendly environment. I scrape this thing everywhere. I drag half my driveway. The roads are terrible. It's only a matter of time before I explode one of these low pros and absolutely yeet myself off into the lake or something. So yeah, it looks cool. I love it. It's been enjoyable, but we're lifting it. So today we're going to be slapping on a 4.5-inch rough country lift kit, and I think it's going to get this thing sitting perfect. So let's go ahead, get back to the farm, and get started. Well, we officially got her in wheelie mode, sitting nice and secure on some jack stands, of course. And we've got the passenger side wheel off because I wanted to talk to y'all about our current suspension setup real quick, because the install might look a little bit different for y'all if you have a stock suspension, whereas we're going from a 5.7 drop to our 4.5-inch lift. So if you're maintaining your factory upper and lower, you will not have to completely remove those, whereas we do, of course, because this kit that we have is a upper and lower replacement for that 5-inch drop. It's the stock spindle, stock spring, versus the kit that we're putting on now. It's going to be a lift spindle as well as springs. So if you're putting new uppers and lowers, it'll be the exact same as we are doing. But if you're keeping your stock ones, you don't necessarily have to pull both of those all the way out. We're actually going to go ahead and work over here on the driver's side because the lighting's a little bit better. So first thing we want to do is remove our sway bar end links. In my case, it is 14 mils. Let's go ahead and pop our tie rod free. It's 18 mil. I'm gonna go ahead and take our fender liner out because I guess while we're in here, we might as well touch up the old Christie frame. So a bunch of push pins all the way around. I'm gonna go ahead and slide our shock out. Mine's a 13 mil on the bottom and a 14 mil up top. I'm also going to go ahead and unclip our ABS wire. Then we got 18 mils for the brakes. And we're just going to sit our caliper. Well, crap. I forgot our bracket right there. Hopefully I've got it within arm's reach. I think it's this guy right here. It is a 10 mil. Take that bracket free. You can actually just sit this guy up there. Careful with your wires though. And we can just pull our rotor off. We got the jack holding up the lower control arm, taking some of the pressure off of this thing. And now we're gonna go ahead and loosen the upper and lower knocker free. And then we'll be pulling this knuckle out of there. 3/4 up top. 7/8 on the lower. Since ours wants to be a turd, I'll just go ahead and remove the entire assembly. So starting with the uppers, then loosen the lower, swing that guy out the way, and then I'll just hit him on the backside with a hammer. It's gonna be a 13/16 for your uppers. 15/16 on your lower bolts. And hopefully our spring doesn't get in the way, even though it looks like it might. Our upper at least has to come free. Our upper's out. And then we can just really drop that guy out the way. And she should all drop out nice and easy. We can just kind of guide it. Pull our spring out. If you want to just do a 3-inch lift, then you'll be reusing your factory coil with the new spindle. But we're doing the 4.5, so we got new coils. Shock out. Out she comes. There it is. Tear down complete. Now I'm gonna go ahead and very non-professionally strip this frame down and coat it with some VHT roll bar paint, because we're not doing the full thing today, but I would like to get in at least good behind the coil so that when we do finish the frame out, the coating and everything, getting it looking right, we don't have to take the entire front end apart. We'll already have in behind those parts. So I'm gonna spend probably the next hour or so doing that, and then I'll catch up with y'all after for the reassembly. Now that we've got some paint on this thing, we can go ahead and start throwing her together. So first thing going on is going to be our lower control arm. And as you can tell, we picked up some new ones because ours were completely shot when we took them off for that lowering kit install. So I'll have a link to these in the description. It's not a bad idea to go ahead and replace your lowers and your uppers if you plan on keeping this for a while and you have stock ball joints and bushings and everything. It's just going to help overall ensure that your truck, one, doesn't ka-chow, and two, it rides as good as possible. But anyways, bigger bolt is the rear one, smaller bolt is the front one. Now I know I'm already going to be all up in the camera, but it's as simple as just lining it up with the hole and getting that bolt back through. Beautiful. And I do apologize for the lighting, which I thought was going to be better over here because we had the daylight, but then when the sun went down, it was actually worse because now we have this light. And anyways, throw your bolts on, or the nuts on the outside with your alignment ears, and then just snug it up to where it'll hold itself up here out of the way. All right, let's get this lower off of our spindle. Just a couple cracks of the hammer ought to do the trick. It's gonna be 3 15 mils. Yeah, it should come out that easy. I hope this hub ain't boogered. There we go. And they look fine. I don't know why it's acting up. Out. Ooh, that baby's hot. Now we're probably gonna have to beat on this thing to get it to let loose. New spindle going on. Line that baby up and throw your bolts back in there. All right, she's ready to go in. We want to go ahead and try to get our jack underneath the lower portion, right on the other side of this ball joint, so we can lift it from the very edge. If you get it from the back, it's not going to want to actually lift this lower control arm up into place. It's going to try to pick the entire truck up, and it's going to be a hard time getting that spring in. It's probably going to be a hard time either way, but we're going to do our best to get this guy right next to the ball joint. Now, I didn't see in the instructions whether there was a top or a bottom, but I put our little vibration collar, which could be used as a lift collar, on the flattest looking side. So we'll see, but we gotta get that guy up in place best we can. And then, as you see, it's gonna be fun because this thing's got to be so low in order for it to get over that edge. Oh my gosh, that's why it's freaking sketchy as crap. Holy mess. Now let's go ahead and try to slip both these guys on nice and slow. The scariest part is now done. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten our upper ball joint, our lower ball joint, see about correcting our upper alignment, snug that guy down. We won't mess with the lower control arm, the back bolts, until this thing is fully on its own weight. I'll spin this guy around, and then I guess I'll catch up with y'all for redressing the hub. Just a little heads up in case you accidentally goofed like I did. So when I bolted the hub on, or the spindle, top was fine, but the bottom, the little part right there that keeps you from being able to turn any farther, when I put it on, it was actually underneath the lower control arm right there. And so it was stuck under there, which for one, wouldn't allow this to thread in all the way. It was right down here at the bottom. And then two, it wouldn't allow this guy to spin either. So I had to bust it loose and then move it to here and then tighten it down. So yeah, if you run into that problem, it's probably this guy being stuck underneath here. Our super cool looking rotors going back on. Throw us one lug nut just to keep her in place. And we might have to do some finagling with our brake line. Obviously all of this, you might have to adjust some, take that bracket free, bend that some, give it a little extra room. Just depends on how it sits. We'll go ahead after all this, drop the suspension all the way down just to see what it's like at full droop, in case we ever decide to jump this thing and see if everything is doable, not too overly tight. Also, if I did forget to mention, which I think I did, these are KSP uppers. I bought them for Chomper like forever ago and never used them. We actually got some different ones to go on Chomper now. And so I threw these on there, which worked out perfect. All right, that is done. All that remains really is the shock going in, plugging everything up, and then tightening, torquing everything down proper. And by almost done, I mean, you're not almost done. You're getting towards the end, but yeah, make sure you throw your tie rod back in as well as your sway bar end links. So I'm gonna put those two in. I'm gonna plug this guy in. I'm gonna zip tie her, get her nice and neat, get this thing sitting on the ground to where the full weight is compressing that coil. And then I'm gonna throw the strut in, or the shock in the center of the coil. So it'll go in nice and straight. Let's go ahead and drop this thing down, see how much she settles. Oh, dude, that's gonna be sitting right. Obviously, when we get the rear up. What we saying about tooted up Reggie, y'all? What y'all think? Leave it as is? Absolutely freaking not. But for those that do like a good old squat rig, here's you a good look. So 4.5 inch lift on the front, -7 in the rear. This is a low to the ground squat rig right here, which going from the 5 inch drop in the front to the 4.5, we raised it, I mean, close to a foot. I haven't measured it, but it should be, 10 inches around there. Definitely a dramatic difference, and holy crap, it looked so good slammed, tucking these tires in the front, and now it definitely does not. Of course, 33, 35 on these wheels would look really good on here, but streets, you gotta have wides if you're gonna run streets, that's for sure. But I figured I'd give you a little walk around everything, check her out all laid back, and we're about to go undo the drop. We'll see about the block. It comes with 1.5 inch with this kit. We of course got to swap the shocks out, but we'll leave the block out for now, see how that's sitting. If it's still too squatted, we'll put that in. If it's too raked, then we'll do a drop shackle and split the difference. So we'll get her figured out, but I ain't gonna bore y'all with that, and there's probably no shot that you're going from a 7 inch to a 1.5 inch lift. I'm gonna go ahead and get it knocked out, and then I'll catch up with y'all at some point and we'll check her out. All right, guys. Well, there she is. Do we officially have the first lifted Regency? I haven't seen one. I'm sure someone has done it. Maybe it's stupid to do this to one, but I'm loving it so far. I think this thing is sitting so right. It's riding good. Somehow our alignment is like perfect. The steering wheel straight. It doesn't pull to each side. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. So, yeah. Y'all let me know, though. Did we make a mistake going from lowered to lifted, or was this the direction that we should have gone from the beginning? Like, literally, as soon as I put the lowering kit on, I was like, wait, why didn't we put a lift on this? Because, like, it's different than chomper suspension being tool drive, and, like, y'all love chomper, so it's similar, and, like, I don't know. It kind of hit me, but then I was like, I do love it. Slammed. But then, you know, whatever. It's real close with those uppers, whether or not we're going to have too much positive camber, because we're fully maxed, and it's either perfect or it's going to have a little bit of positive camber. So we might have to go back to some stock ones. We'll just have to see. Those are for a 2 to 4 inch lift, but it's kind of weird because this lift is designed to work with your stock stuff. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. I figured it was going to sit a little bit taller with the 4.5, but the two-wheel drive trucks do sit a little bit lower typically. So we'll get it next to chomper at some point, and I think it's going to be about the exact same. Maybe a little bit taller with the same size tire. It definitely sits taller in the rear for some reason, which is weird because I guess technically it's got the exact same setup on the rear. Factory leaf springs with no block. I did not put the rough country blocks in there because, as you might could tell, if we did put the 1.5, it would be raking something fierce. So I don't know, maybe it's because it's lighter weight or because it's shorter. I don't know the reasons why, but it's definitely sitting taller in the rear than chomper. Either way, I think it's sitting pretty much perfect, but I'm just thinking, what are we going to put on this thing? I don't want to put something on there that makes it an absolute pig, because it does drive really good, even on these Trail Boss tires, which are like 32s. So I'm thinking we stay 33s and below, even though I did try to stuff the Caddy stocks with the 35 radars on here, because I was like, man, it's going to look insane. And it did look insane. It just didn't clear our brakes. But if you wanted to see that, let's go ahead and quickly jump back in time and you can check it out. Well, dadgummit, I guess I'm hopping in here at the end to show y'all what I was hoping to do, which was to steal your hearts, to make you all fall in love with Reggie by putting the Caddy stocks and the 35s on here. But unfortunately, they don't clear the front calipers. So I know the Regencies did come with different brakes from the regular trucks. So I guess that's where the issue lies. Aside from that, I don't know why they wouldn't fit. All of these trucks came majority with 17s. But our calipers are too large, and they are contacting the barrel of our wheels. Thankfully, I caught that before I just took off and drove, because that would have been bad. Would have messed up the wheel and the caliper. But it freaking sucks because the truck looks so incredibly good. It is literally a mini chomper, and it was going to be disgusting. A manual mini chomper? Yes, but dang it. Crap. Well, I guess y'all have already seen it on... What else do we have? I'm not putting it back on the freaking 22s. I guess the Trail Boss stocks. That's better than them, but definitely not nearly as good as this. Holy crap. I think the most sad because I can't even get it outside to show it to y'all. Anyways, here's what we missed out on. So I guess we know going forward, can't run 17s on the Regency. So 18 plus. Gosh dang. All right. Well, anyways, back to future chase. Yeah. Back to future chase. So yeah, I'm guessing it's the old Regency brakes, or maybe it's just the wheels, because those wheels aren't perfectly flat in the barrel. They're kind of like slanted. So I don't know, maybe some other 17s would work, because I really was thinking, man, it'd be kind of sweet. Our first like off-road style, like a KMC or something with a 33 or 35 on this thing. Give it kind of that, you know, pre-runner look and vibe. But I don't know. I also really wish we still had the 20-inch American Forces that we had on Chomper, the street setup, because that would have went stupid on this thing. I'm going to show y'all our shocks, because y'all didn't catch that install for removing the flip kit. Dude, they look super good. I love the V2s. They look super premium, and from my experience, they ride really good as well. Now, you can see from the back, the knuckle lifts on the two-wheel drives do poke the front end out some more. So I don't think it's enough to do maybe a 1-inch rear spacer. We'll have to see if we do want to add that. But that can definitely make certain setups look better because they're poked out a little bit more. But it also can make you run into rubbing issues worse than But y'all let me know if you think it was a mistake for us to take the lowering kit off and put the lift kit on. Honestly, I don't really have any regrets so far because everything is going to be better about this truck now. I can actually get to an alignment shop. I can actually get this truck on the exhaust rack so we can finally go get the exhaust, which is going to sound absolutely glorious. I can drive down my driveway without picking up all of my gravel and taking it to a new home. We have a lot bigger wheel and tire selection. It's a lot more catered towards what y'all typically like, which is lifted stuff. And like I said, man, this truck is just too cool not to like fully enjoy and have y'all enjoy it as well by doing stuff that y'all like. Because dude, the old Regency, holy crap, got the wiggle stick, the V8, 3 pedals, the disgusting interior, which I love. Definitely going to be doing a headliner soon. I'm thinking just a suede, drop the mirrors off, just nice and clean, black out the rest of this thing. That's the video, boys. Hopefully y'all did enjoy. Definitely drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the old Regency going from slammed to lifted. And with that said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Absolutely awesome boat launch find. Look at her. Extendo shorty. It's just like the VMAX.